I'm going to go to Mr. Cofone, but I guess, you know, the trouble we're in right now is we have this voluntary code out there already. So the actions and deliberations of companies are making decisions right now, and some in one direction, some in another, until they're brought into regulatory power. So I think the ship has sailed to some degree in terms of where this can go. And so we're left with this bill and all the warts that it has in a number of different issues. And one of the things that you know, it's a challenge. And Mr. Cofone, maybe you can highlight a little bit of this with your governance background. Perhaps I met with ACTRA. This is the Actors Guild, and a lot of their concerns have to be dealt with through the Copyright Act on this. And if we don't deal with it, though, on this bill somehow, then we actually leave a gaping hole for not only just abuse of the actors that include children. And their state of welfare, but we also leave a blind spot for how the public can be manipulated and so forth, and everything from, you know, consumer society to politics to a whole slew of things. So, what do we do? Do you have any suggestions? Like, how do we kind of fix those components that we're not even? It's a separate act.
Yes, if I quickly can add something to your prior question besides agreement with the prior three responses, is that environment, like you brought up, is a great example. Because in environmental law, years ago, we thought that regulating it was challenging because we mistakenly thought that the costs were local but the harms were global. So not regulating meant developing the industry while not imposing global harms. And with AI, it's the same. We think sometimes that the harms are global and the costs of regulating are local, but that is not the case. Many of the harms of AI are local, and that makes it urgent for Canada to pass a regulation such as this one that protects its citizens while it fosters industry. On the copyright, it's a challenging question because, as Professor Benju pointed to a bit earlier, AI is not just one technology. Technologies do one thing. Self-driving cars drive, cameras film, but AI is a family of methods that can do anything. So regulating AI is not about changing one variable or the other. AI would eventually change or affect all of the law, and we will have to reform several statutes. What is being discussed today is an accountability framework plus a privacy law, because that's the one that's most intimately affected by AI. I do not think that we should be illusioned by the fact that changing this will account for all AI and for all the effects of AI, or to think that we should stop it because it doesn't capture everything, because it cannot. I think it is worth discussing the accountability framework to account for harm and bias. It is worth discussing the privacy change to account for AI, and possibly it is also warranted to do a change in the Copyright Act to account for generative AI and the new challenges that it brings for copyright.